The key commands are one of my favorite areas in Cubase because you can do almost anything in Cubase without ever having to use your mouse, or without almost ever having to use your mouse. You can start with an empty arrangement and build everything up from scratch just by using the keyboard, the letter keyboard, the standard keyboard, and obviously your musical keyboard, the piano. I will use the mouse only to show you certain areas on the screen, and if it's necessary to use the mouse. So let's start with the not so obvious option. When I press Alt on the keyboard, you can see that all these menu items have got an underscore under the first letter, or under the one of the letters basically. After I've pressed Alt, I can now press, if I want to go for the panels, I can now press P to open the panels menu, and there I want to open the VST instruments. I'll show you them, the VST instruments, which have the N underscored, so I'll press N on the keyboard to bring up the VST instruments. Now I have to use the mouse, and I'm going to choose the LM7, and I press Return Enter on the keyboard to close this window again. There is another way to access the submenus. I'll start again by pressing Alt, but this time see whether you can see that the word file has become embedded, and I can now, or the file one is highlighted, and I can now use my arrow keys on the keyboard, the ones underneath the delete end and page down keys, to just go down the right. Now panels is selected, and I press the down arrow, bring up the menu, and I just go down this menu until I get to VST instruments and hit enter on the keyboard to bring up the VST instruments. Here again I have to use the mouse, so I'll choose the universal sound module and press return to close this dialog box. Next I need to create a track. Creating a track is easy. I just press Ctrl and T on the keyboard, and there is a new track. I need to specify an output, so I'm going to use the mouse again, choose the LM7 because I want to record a drum track, and now I use the keyboard. I'll press Alt N in order to give the track a name. I'll call this track Drums because I want to record drums there. Press Enter. Now I want to record a 2-bar bass, 2-bar drum groove, so I'll make sure that my right locator is set to bar 3, so I'll press R on the keyboard, type in 3 for third bar, hit the return key, and you've seen that my right locator has moved forward a little bit to bar 3. I also want to record at a slightly slower tempo. I don't want to use 120, sorry. So all I do is I press Shift T and type in a tempo, let's say 84. For this example, I'd like to switch on the cycle record function, which is this button here, which means it records everything that's being played in a cycle, and as I go along I can switch the recording on and off while it's still playing by hitting the asterisk key on the number pad, and then when the recording is not on, I can choose my new parts, I can develop the new ideas, switch recording on, and just quickly record them. Also, I'll keep the inspector open for these takes, so I can quickly make changes here as well as I go. These changes have to be done with a mouse though. And I'll switch on auto quantize, which makes it a little bit easier for me. Set this to 16 notes, and we'll talk about the quantize functions later on. Okay, let's start. Okay, I'll switch record off. The song still plays. I'll create a new track pressing Ctrl T on the keyboard. Here I want to choose a different output, so I need to use the mouse. I'll use the universal sound module. I'll give the track a name. I want to call it a bass. So I'll press Alt N on the keyboard, call it bass, press return. I now want to use a bass sound, so I'll go down here and choose a bass sound. I'll play the bass sound. It's not high enough, so I'll use the minus octave setting on the keyboard. Now I'll look for a nice bass groove, which I like, and I'll switch the metronome off as well. Metronome on and off is the C button on the keyboard again. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's okay, I like this one. So hit the asterisk key. And it's recorded it as well. Unfortunately, I started the recording in the second bar. I've got two options. I could either cut this bit and swap the parts around, or just re-record the section again. I just re-record it, so I'll delete this bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop the recording. And I want to use a new track, so I'll go with Ctrl T again, and I want to record a piano track. In order to change the name, Alt N, piano, press return, choose a patch. Let's go with the electric piano. And let's play something. Obviously I need to change the octave setting again. And let's find something I like. I am going down to E again. Just a nice simple melody. I'll hit record. 1, 2, 3, 4. That wasn't so nice, so I'll press record again, delete the part, try again. Record off again. So this is not me playing, this is the computer playing. You might have noticed that when I switched off the recording, Cubase stutters ever so slightly. That's normal, and it's just a matter of finding out where the notes are going to be placed in the end, because I'm using the auto quantize function. I'll cut this bit here, I'll use the scissors for that one. And I'll select these parts. I want to repeat these parts now, so I'll hit Ctrl K on the keyboard. And I'll choose how many I want with the mouse. Let's say I want 7 parts or 15 parts. I'll stop the recording to show you some other features now. These are the transport shortcuts I'd like to show you. If you press Enter on the number pad, you start Cubase. If you press 0 on the number pad, you stop Cubase. If you hit 0 again, the cursor moves to the left locator, and if you hit 0 another time, it goes all the way to the very beginning of the arrangement. If you use the number 1, you set the cursor to the left locator, and if you hit the number 2 on the number pad, the cursor goes to the right locator. I'll press 1 to bring the cursor back to the left locator, hit start, and I'll switch off the cycle mode by using the divide or the slash on the number pad. So I'll switch off the cycle mode. Next time round it's going to carry on playing through the song, as you can see. I can increase the tempo by pressing plus on the number pad, so the tempo is going up, and the minus key reduces the tempo. I can fast forward, oh that's backwards, and fast forward is that one, by pressing page up and page down. So page up fast forwards, and page down rewinds the track. If you want this to happen a bit quicker, especially if you've got a long song, you can keep shift pressed while you're doing it, and it's a lot faster. See whether you can do this with one hand. Put your thumb on shift and your second finger on page up or page down. So I'll hit 1 again to bring the cursor back to the start of the song or to the left locator. Hit start. Same as the 0 key on the number pad is the space bar. With the space bar you can stop the song. If you press the space bar again, the position goes to the left locator, and if you hit space bar again, it goes to the very beginning of the arrangement. So now I'll press 1, and I think that that all the parts are fairly small, so I'll use the H key to make them a little bit larger, maybe again, and I'll press Shift H to increase the size vertically. At the moment you can see that track number 3 is selected, the piano track is selected, and loads of parts are selected as well. Another way to select and deselect parts is by using your arrow keys again. So if I use my arrow keys now to the right, that piano part becomes selected, and I can scroll through all these parts. I can go up the parts further to the left by using my arrow keys, use the down keys, the right key, the left key, the up key, the down key. So if I'm up here, for example, then by pressing shift and the right key, I can start to select a few parts at the same time. Now I went down, and I can select more parts again, so I can select parts within the same track using the shift key and the arrow keys.